You may have heard your grandparents or great-grandparents use the old expression, "Back in the day when I was your age, here was what I used to go through at work." Well, no matter where you live in Canada, quite possibly those stories from the mid to early 1900s were connected to this building right behind me, Medalta Potteries in Medicine Hat, Alberta.
This place is a 101-year-old pottery factory. It was once one of the biggest factories in Canada of its type. I think it hit its peak in around the late 1920s and was shipping product coast to coast. So, most Canadians have had some kind of contact with this stuff, with the pottery, like with crocks and bowls and all that other stuff we made, because it was shipped literally from, say, Nova Scotia to Vancouver Island.
But the factory closed down in the 50s and nearly had a wrecking ball knocked through it, if not for an inspired group that came along to save it.
It is a fully functioning museum. Contemporary ceramic art studios. Right now I think we have about 12 or 13 ceramic artists actually on site working. One of the most interesting things that we do here from a visitor perspective is we actually make our own pottery again, just as they did traditionally in the 40s and the 30s and prior to that. So we use a lot of the original machines, including one that was originally in this building, had been stripped out. We brought it back, refurbished it. I don't know, thousands of visitors coming through here over the summer, and then they do come from across Canada. But when they come through the museum, it's interesting to see the industrial side of things, how this stuff was made, before, digital technology kind of took things over. It's a very manual museum.
But the real clay that holds them all together, so to speak, is about the "I remember when" moments.
They almost always see something that reminds them of their past. And, so they'll see a bread bowl, for example, and then they will actually start telling stories about, making bread with their mother, with their grandchildren, or, whatever the relationship is, in the past. And so they'll start remembering their own past, and they'll start telling us stories about how they relate to this stuff on a very personal level. So that is really a big draw, is just, people come here and they get all nostalgic, and then they leave, and, if they're on a trip across the country, a lot of the times we'll get emails back saying, the stories that they've remembered here, that this place has kind of teased out of them, that they'd forgotten about or haven't thought about in decades sometimes.
For Big Summer in Medicine Hat, Alberta, I'm Dave Dawson.